Hi, loves. Welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to talk to you about having faith in the universe or God or spirit and really leaning on the universe. I'm just going to refer to this entity as the universe from here on out just to make it easier, but really leaning on the universe and co-creating your dream business and life with the universe. So, let's start with how things usually go. A lot of people and a lot of society and a lot of how we are brought up, raised, whatever, how we interact with the world is very logical. Even though there's a ton of proof and evidence that there is an unseen magic of the world, there's like quantum physics, there's energy, there's particles, there's a whole other layer that is beyond tangible, beyond what we can see. And that is, when we tap into this other energy, when we tap into vibration, when we tap into the energy of God or the universe, we can literally create magical things. But I feel like, I don't know about you, but I grew up really believing that I had to be in charge of my dreams. I had to do it all on my own. And I think it's really a lack of trust and it's definitely a control issue, but a lack of trust that things can happen in an amazing way without you doing all of the work. And I think some of us grow up, with these like micro traumas. We have experiences, family, all this stuff that really makes us feel like we have to control our circumstances in order to receive the outcomes. My wife and sister just came home from dropping something off and they showed up with a machete in their hands. Anyway, we feel like we need to control outcomes in order for things to go our way. And I think a big thing too is like in order to not be disappointed or let down, because I know like partly it's like I feel like we don't believe that we can even have the thing that we desire, and we certainly don't believe that we can have the thing that we desire in an easy way. And so the easiest way in my experience is to co-create with the universe. And I want to share with you, I've leaned on the universe throughout the past like 4 years in my business. And it comes and goes, and I'm always learning lessons. So I want to share with you a lesson that I'm learning again right now. I think that, just a little insight on learning lessons in life really quick is I think a lot of people think that, at some point you're going to reach ascension. You're going to reach this period. And I talk about this actually in my episode with my past client, Jenna. But there's this belief that we're going to reach this time in our lives where we're going to have reached a level. And at that level, we are no longer worried about past patterns that we have broken through. But what I want to say is that that's not, I don't believe that that's true. I believe that we repeat the same patterns over and over again, just at different levels. And so this example that I'm going to share with you actually is definitely a repeat of a pattern. It's just a whole new level. So my sister's here right now visiting us for a month. And I'm launching this podcast literally in a few weeks. And in 2 days, I am going to, well, first of all, today, my mom and cousin are coming to visit, and in 2 days I'm leaving with my wife and we are going to work an event in Las Vegas. Now, I've been traveling, like I went to Canada at the beginning of October for Canadian Thanksgiving. Then at the end of October, we went to Vegas. We were supposed to go to a festival, and now we're here. And my sister's here, and my mom and cousin are coming, and we just had a friend here as well, and it just feels like absolute fucking chaos. And of course, everything for the podcast is happening last minute, not because I wanted it to happen that way, but because, I'm busy, and sure, I could have recorded earlier, but things just had to unfold the way that they had to unfold. Can I, approach this differently next time? Sure. But for right now, like, I got to deal with this in this moment. Like, we can reflect on what I would do differently later. So it's been a challenge because, my sister and I, for the most part, we get along. But when I'm stressed out and she picks up on my stress and whatever, we kind of like bite each other's heads off. And so it hasn't been working very well. Like, I have been really stressed about getting these episodes recorded because when I get back from Vegas, a week later, we launched the podcast, And so here I am, like, it doesn't matter all of the circumstances, but here I am living my life, trying to get shit done, feeling super stressed and overwhelmed with everything that I have to do. And there's just all of these circumstances that are making my time right now more challenging, right? And, I was reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle last night. It was really helpful because, I was reading the chapter, I think, I read a couple chapters. Anyway, she talks about how life, like, she used to believe that there was this perfect woman that she could be, this perfect version of life. And I very much resonate with what she was saying because there is no perfect way of living. Just like I was saying with this whole ascension belief, right? There's no level that you get to where your problems just go away. There is no version of perfect that exists. But in my experience, we, as the creator of our universe, as the person who is in charge of our energy and how we respond and our point of attraction, we get to change how we respond and we get to change how we view our circumstances. So, I can choose to continue feeling stressed out and irritated. Like, my wife and sister just came back. They were honking the horn at me to come out. And like, okay, I can stay in a space where I'm frustrated because I'm fucking recording, or I can choose to let go and I can choose to have faith and I can choose to approach the situation with more ease and more grace and more love and more understanding. And not only does this mentality help me, because then the stress automatically shifts. We go from a point of contraction, like when we're stressed out and we feel pressure and we feel like we have to do everything on our own, our body literally contracts. If you pay close enough attention to your body, you will notice your muscles tighten. You will notice symptoms like maybe your stomach's upset, maybe you're getting a headache. This is your body contracting and repulsing that vibration, because that is not, I don't want to use the word should, but that's not the vibe of flow. Let's put it that way. I was going to say it's not the vibe we should be in, but there's no shoulds. You can choose to be whatever you want. But the natural state of your body and your energy is a state of flow. And the state of flow is a state of openness and love. And when we're in openness and love, we're operating also at the vibration in which abundance and the universe and love, like I said, also operates. We are in sync with the laws of the universe. We are in sync with that universal flow. And so this is what I'm really trying to nail home today, is that we choose based on our previous circumstances to take on the pressure, to take on the stress, to react when we are stressed out. And I want you to know that there's another option. And this other option, which involves having faith and leaning on the universe, can help you to release all of the pressure. It can help you to shift your state of stress. It can help you to feel better in your body. And honestly, it can help you to manifest the life and the desires that you would like to create for yourself. I've noticed so many times, like when I'm in business and I'm like, can you imagine just for a second, let's interrupt that thought. Can you imagine if I showed up like just half-assing my recordings of this podcast because I just have to get it done? and like I have to get it out there, and putting that pressure on myself and just showing up from that like kind of gross, yucky energy is going to be so different than me showing up from a place of like, okay, we got this, we can do this, it's all happening, there's no problem, like we're gonna figure this out, right? And this is that openness and closedness that I'm talking about. And I just had a conversation with one of my clients yesterday, who's managing like multi-million-dollar businesses, and we were talking about this openness and closeness. And I think there are certain people out there who see the glass half empty. There are other people who see the glass half full. I go through states where I'm half empty, half full. Like I'm not immune to thinking negatively, but I've worked a lot on viewing the world as having multiple possibilities, multiple solutions. There exists multiple realities. So in this circumstance, this situation, this experience that I'm in right now, with this month of November being absolutely fucking chaotic for me, there exists the reality where I'm stressed out, where I'm sick, where I don't launch the podcast. And there also exists the reality where everything runs smoothly. I complete my work with love and grace. I have extra time to spend with my sister, and I feel happy and healthy, right? And I attract the desires or the results that I desire to create. And this is that openness and that closeness, right? The close and the open. This is there is no solution. This sucks, like I have to do all of this on my own, versus we're going to figure out a way, God, angels, universe, help. Like, how do I need to see this differently? Please help me to get through this. Please give me the strength to get through this. And this takes me back to having this thought, because I used to pray a lot, when I was younger. Ooh, emotions, what the heck? When my uncle passed away when I was in grade 8. I was always asking for signs that he was with me. And I would ask to see him. Like, I wanted so badly to see spirits just so I could see him. He was a really close uncle of mine. We would see him, like every weekend. And I started to get a little, I guess, bitter. I stopped believing in another power. I stopped praying, and I stopped that connection with God or the universe. I stopped talking. I stopped even being open to the idea that there was another higher power, that there even were spirits, because I wasn't getting what I wanted in, when I was praying and when I was asking to see him. And what I've learned, like in the last several years, because this was a long time ago, right? What I've learned is that we can pray and we can ask for help. We can ask for guidance. We can ask for signs. And I think that a lot of the time we are trying to control the way in which we receive signs. I remember one of my clients, we had a conversation recently, and she was like, I asked the universe to send me a robin at this time and this blah, 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 and it didn't happen. And I was like, okay, try asking again, but open up your eyes, open up the ways in which the universe can deliver that sign to you. Because sometimes when we are asking for such a specific sign, we are completely closed off to all the other ways. And this isn't even just asking for a sign. When we are so focused on one track, on building our life in one way, we are so closed off to a completely different way of living our lives. We are closed off to other opportunities that might actually be the correct opportunity. And while I don't believe that there's like a right path and a wrong path, I think that ultimately we're going to end up where we need to end up. But what I've experienced is that when we are so focused on one result, on one path, on one way of living life, on one outcome, one goal, we close ourselves off to all of the other beautiful, spontaneous, life is better than what I had envisioned moments that the universe provides, right? Coming back to this whole idea of prayer, like I believe that I was asking for a very specific thing, you know? And like why I didn't see my uncle, or why like my specific desire didn't manifest or whatever, is it's not the point of all of this. The point is like the control. And then the other thing is that I also believe in divine timing. I have zero desire at this point in my life to see ghosts and spirits. And so even though I was asking for that, even though I thought that's what I thought I wanted to be able to connect with my uncle in this like spiritual way, what I realized is like, well, first of all, there was part of me that was so afraid of seeing ghosts. And I think we always have free will, right? Like if I really willed myself and I really wanted to see spirits, I'm sure I could train myself to do it. I believe that we all have the ability to tap into our gifts. I also believe that we come here with different gifts, and maybe seeing spirits is not necessarily mine, but also like there was part of me that was so afraid. Like I would ask, but then I would be afraid. And so obviously I wasn't ready. And obviously like there was part of me that actually didn't want that. You know what I mean? And I think this is a huge thing as well when we are creating the vision for our lives and for our business. I see so many people like desire something like, okay, I want to make 6 figures. But there's a part of them that actually doesn't want that. They don't want all of the clients, or they're afraid of having all of the clients. They're afraid of losing their freedom, if you will, because they're viewing their freedom in a particular way. They're not seeing the freedom maybe that having a 6-figure business and having all of the work would give them. They're seeing it from like oh my God, I'd be fully booked. I can't spend time with my kids, blah, 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 blah. And so this is how we can kind of trip up our manifestations. And I'll talk about this probably in another episode, but this is the alignment piece in my aligned, magnetic, and profitable business framework. Because if there's part of us that does not desire what it is that we're asking for, we're going to block ourselves off from receiving it, right? If we don't want to put the work in, if we don't actually want to manage the finances, if we don't actually want to be responsible for people's results, which I'll have to do another episode on that too, because that's a whole other thing. But anyway, there's a lot that goes on an energetic and subconscious level when it comes to manifesting that I actually think holds a lot of people back from getting the bigger things. A lot of people can manifest easy shit off of TikTok. Like, oh, I moved this rock with my energy. Like, okay, and what are the big things that you really desire in your life? And how are you making space on an energetic level and a physical level for these things to come through? So that is another piece. And then the last piece that I kind of touched on briefly was this whole idea of divine timing, right? Like I believe that we're always being guided. I believe that we can make miracles happen. I believe that we can step into our motherfucking power. And sometimes when shit's just not working out, I have to lean into like, okay, it's not working the way that I wanted it to. It's going to work out this way or a better way at some point, but you don't give up. And this is what happens to a lot of people, especially newer entrepreneurs, is that they give up because they lose faith. They lose faith that they can make shit work. And let me tell you, like, how much fucking work it takes to actually build a business. If I had known, no, that's not true. I would still do it. What the fuck? But I think a lot of people wouldn't even try to start businesses if they had known how much work it takes, you know? I think a lot of people make it look easy. I think I make it look easy because I've done it for so long. And it takes a lot of work. It takes learning. It takes showing up. It takes juggling several different elements. And we can we get better at it. It can be easier. But it's still work. It still takes time. It still takes a lot of energy. And we got to trust in divine timing, right? We do. We just have to. Because if we don't, then where does that leave us? And so I remember when I wanted to, you can learn more about this in episode 1, but when I wanted to climb the corporate ladder and then I ended up quitting and moving to Mexico, I was so fucking scared. Like, I was having anxiety, like, situations. I don't know if they would be attacks, but like there were definitely moments where I couldn't breathe. I felt sick. Like, I felt so stressed out because it was something completely unknown to me. It was the first time that I had ever moved out of my house, my parents' house. It was the first time I ever moved to a different city. It was the first time, I was coming to live with my ex-husband who, like, I knew, but I didn't know, you know what I mean? Because we had only spent like 7 weeks together in person. I literally have no regrets. Like, while he is my ex, we went through a divorce and that was a whole thing. Again, it's divine timing. Like, I always look back and I have people in my life that are like, oh, that was a mistake, or like, don't you regret that? Like, no, I don't live my life with regrets. I believe that every single step, every single investment, every single thing that I invest myself and my time and my energy into is getting me to where I need to be in life, to where my soul needs to be in life. And that's this piece of following your intuition. I could have stayed home. I could have brought my ex-husband to Canada. I wouldn't have met my now wife, and I wouldn't have my dog. I wouldn't have this life. And honestly, I don't even know if I would have this business. Like, maybe I would, but it would look very different than it does right now. I've learned so much since being in Mexico. And so even though we don't always have answers, even though life is stressful sometimes, and taking the steps to accomplish our dreams can feel heavy, especially when you're running a business, and man, business is like not even just, oh, like I'm recording a podcast. I'm like the marketing expert, I'm the website developer, I'm the copywriter, I am the saleswoman, I am the coach, I am the course creator, I am the tech expert, And I do all of these things really well in my business, but it's a lot of things. Yes, I can hire support. Yes, I do have support, and it still can feel like a lot. So when it feels like a lot, and maybe you're in business, maybe you're not in business, maybe you have a career or a side job that's supporting you in your business, whatever it is, we are always able to tap into the universe, and we can always ask for guidance. You are not walking this earth alone, and I know it can feel that way sometimes. I certainly feel that way sometimes, but you are not here alone. There are so many other people that are going through it with you, you know what I mean? People that you don't even know of, which is one element, but the other element is like you are always divinely supported. And shit can get crazy. Like, there's been moments in my business where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay bills next month, and somehow it works out. Like, it just does. And I have the universe to thank for that. Also, my work ethic, like, I do put in the work. I do what I need to do in order to make money, but a lot of my business has not been logical or strategic. A lot of my business has been having faith in this higher power, taking aligned action, allowing my truth to come out and sharing that with the world, and magnetizing the right people into my thing. You know what I mean? So, what do you believe in? And how much faith do you have that you are not doing it alone and that you are being guided? I think when we are not in practice with our intuition, like when we're not hearing our intuition, when we are not spending time in our own energy, on our own, rejuvenating, refilling our cup, shit can get kind of murky. Like it can get really cloudy, and we never lose our connection to spirit, but we can feel very disconnected. So what are you doing to connect back with yourself, to connect back with the universe? And how can you give yourself more space, more time, more of whatever it is that you need to reconnect, to feel good? I think that's all I have for you today. If you're resonating with this episode, I would love to see a review. You can enter the launch giveaway, the podcast launch party giveaway, by submitting a review, posting a little clip of your favorite part of this episode or any of the other episodes to your stories. Help me get this out there into the hands of people who need to hear what I have to say. I believe that I am being supported on this journey, and while it can feel like a really big task to put things out there, to get my voice out there, to build an audience, I know that I'm always being guided in the process. So would love your support. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. I hope you loved today's episode as much as I did. Just a reminder to book a 30-minute connection call with me if you are ready to make 2023 your biggest year in business yet. Whatever that means for you, we can chat about it. I'll let you know how I can help you bring your business dreams into fruition. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. If you like what you heard, I would love it if you left a review. Make sure you check out my website in the show notes to get the links to the launch party giveaway. There are over $1,000 worth in products and services to help you grow and expand. And until next time, I'm sending you waves of abundance.